Okay, my little fat fingers and moving the camera around. Um, cut the video off, so we're starting a new one right where that one left off. Um, with the card, talk to your angels. And I'm going to share once again the card. I want you to look at this being's hands. I want you to look at the color blue. That's a beautiful deep blue that he has on. And it is a he. He appears masculine to me. Beloveds, we were speaking on prayer. We're speaking on how you attract and communicate with divine intent and with devotion to purpose in seeking assistance in order to stop worrying about something. When you worry, you've taken spirit out of the picture. You limit spirit by your sense of what you're attracting. Okay? You're shutting down the miracles that can happen. Okay? So remember what prayer is. Also, free will choices have been coming up a lot in the videos lately. That, especially with Blue Butterfly Jaguar Woman's appearance, that has been um, her whole message is spiritual choice and the power of your spiritual choice and what takes place with your spiritual choice. I want to get deeper into prayer, what this says. And I read it in the prior video, but I'm going to read it again in this one because there's a deeper meaning here that needs to be communicated. And everything is everything. Everything is divine timing, and it's very synchronistic. Okay, even with the video being stopped and having to be restarted into another one. Prayers allow God and the angels to intervene in your free will choices. The word intervene means to intercede, means you have to ask for help. You have to ask for spiritual changes, for supernatural changes. You have to ask for spiritual shields to be put in place. You have to ask for spiritual reinforcement. You have to ask for spiritual outcomes to take place, specific spiritual outcomes. You have to pray. You have to intimately connect and open up that doorway, that portal, that bridge, that gate that allows spirit to come through to aid you through the veil of your doubts and fears and disbelief and blah, 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 blah. You have to tear that down. You do that through prayer. Every time you ask, every time you connect, every time you make that connection, you are validating who you are. You are validating your connection to the universe as a firstborn. You are calling, Mama, help me. Mama's going to hear you. She's going to come. But you have to ask. In other words, you have to say, Mama, I'm ready now. My mind, my feelings, my human self, we can't get it. We can't do it. That's not good enough. I surrender my human self. I surrender all of that over to you, Mama. You take over. You handle it. You do your duty. You put you in it. Bring you to it, Mama. Take me out of it. Take my mind, take my thoughts away from it. Put more of your spirit in it. Bring it to balance. Adjust it. Do what you need to do, Mama. Your will and your spiritual knowledge and wisdom and grace is way more than my human will, my logic. Knock it out the park, Mama. It's your game. It's your ball. It's your bat. It's your players. Put them in position. Do whatever you need to do, Mama. It's yours. I surrender. That's the intercession that you ask for. And then you let it go, you leave it alone, and you move out the way. You don't take it back. Oh, I got this. Wait a minute. Let me see. I didn't see it from this angle. I didn't do this part right here. Move, Mama. I got it. Never mind. Oh, Mama, you're not moving fast enough, or you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do it, Mama. So, spirit is beyond the limitations that we can grasp when it comes to spiritual grace, spiritual vastness, spiritual depth, high definition and frequency, tones. You couldn't even conceive it. You couldn't hear it. You couldn't know it. Let spirit intercede for you. Ask. That means being humble. That means being humble. You are the seeing, you are the feeling, you are the thinking, but you say, that can't get it. I need to unseen that which is higher than me to take care of this. And you stop worrying. Put your faith in it. Know that it's going to be taken care of. But it's going to be taken care of in divine timing. And it's going to be taken care of according to spiritual will, design, and what's in your highest, best interest, not in your immediate gratification. Okay? Let's keep going. First, they'll boost your mood and faith, which will help you feel happier and more peaceful. Just praying should be enough to lessen the burden of worry. If you do not feel immediately relieved, then you did not pray from your spiritual peace. You're still connected. Your mind and thoughts are still connected. You didn't unhook that. If you're still feeling burdened, you're still attached. You're still corded. You're still tied. You're still bound. You're still enslaved to whatever is worrying you. You can't walk away from it. You can't put it down. You can't let it go. You got to let it go. If you want God's intervention, if you want Spirit's intervention, let it go. Practice letting it go. Some of us have to practice letting it go. That means we're going to sit it at God's feet 1,000 times and go back and get it, 999? But that one time you're going to say, you know what? I'm done. God, I'm done. I'm walking away. I ain't turning back. Whatever it is, that's what it is. When you can get to that point, then you have a more deeper, intimate relationship with Spirit. And Spirit acts from the depths with you. Grace is always there. But your perception of receiving that grace and that unconditional love is interceded by your mind and your thoughts and your feelings. So you, as a vessel, have to choose. That's that law of choice that Blue Butterfly Jaguar Woman has been speaking of lately. Let me keep going, beloveds. Then they'll lend you aid in miraculous ways, such as giving you intuitive urges to take certain action. How powerful is that? You wonder where your instincts and your intuition come from. There's always conscious awareness, spiritual conscious awareness. That spiritual consciousness is awake. It does not sleep. It is always communicating with you, your incarnated consciousness. Always in communication. It is never separated and separate from. You have to learn to reattach. You have to learn to remember, literally, the bond, the connection. You have to release yourself from the slavery that your mind has subjected you to, based on your feelings and your thoughts. Let me keep going, beloveds, but understand the intuitive urges. So people say, oh, I had a mind to do that, or my first mind said this, or, that little small voice came up and it said I should do that, and I didn't listen. Start listening. This is your how your prayers are answered. Some prayers are spoken consciously. Some prayers are spoken subconsciously. Some prayers are unconscious. All prayers are answered. All three are answered. Be aware that your prayers are being answered by the intuition by your instincts, beyond time, circumstances, and situations. Understand that your prayers are being answered even when you are able to change your mind from one moment to the next. When you stop worrying about one thing and move on, I give it to God and it's in God's hands, and whatever happens, happens. Allow divine intercession. Allow the grace of God and know that it's vast and beyond your full comprehension. But allow, beloveds. And you allow by opening that door, by asking. First, by knowing that you need and that there's somebody, something, somewhere that's going to always answer your needs. As a loving parent, you are the firstborn of its consciousness. It has never abandoned you. Let me keep going. Together, you and heaven co-create the answers to your prayers. Please always remember that Creator wants you to be happy, healthy, and safe, just as any loving parent does. You, like everyone, deserve to be helped so that you have the time and energy to devote to your life purpose. So, what I get from this, again, with the purpose of this video, is be conscious of what you allow to drain your energy. Be conscious of what you allow to draw you into war with it, so that you are intimate with yourself, with your spiritual self, with the seeking of your spiritual self, with the practicing of being and becoming more of your spiritual self. Okay? And understand what depression is. It pushes down your spirit, just like a bully, just like on the playground at school. And the bully comes up and pushes you down, and you fall down and hit the ground backwards. That's depression. That's pushing you down. That's pushing your spirit down and telling your spirit to stay down. Don't get back up. Sit, boo-boo. Rise. Rise up. Rise up. Know that you're capable of rising up. Even if you got to crawl to your hands and knees and grab onto something to pull you up, get up. Get up. If you need something to lean on it. Hold yourself up, but get up. Divine timing means you open up the dialogue of prayer. You invite spirit in to this situation that has you down, that you've fallen and need help getting up. Ask for a helping hand. Ask for that spiritual helping hand. That's the grace of God to help you up out of any situation, that will intercede and back whatever force is there, whatever bully, whatever energy, frequency that has dared. Call that spirit forth. Call on it. Give it access, give it permission to intercede on your behalf. That's saying, I ain't got the strength in me, Lord. I need you. Watch it come, baby. Watch it come. In whatever form it needs to. Whether that's a teacher coming up there all of a sudden, or whether that's another student that's going to knock that bully down, or whether it's another student that's going to reach and grab your hand and say, come on, leave that fool alone, come on. You have a choice. You don't have to stay depressed. You don't have to stay repressed. Learn, practice praying. Practice devoting yourself to spiritual purpose. And watch things change. Watch things move. Watch things flow the way you need them to. Up. Watch that Kundalini rise. Watch the wisdom, the spiritual wisdom, come up from the earth itself, baby, to meet the heavens. Breathe it in. Bathe in it. Know that you're not alone. Know that things are going to come at you. Yes, they're going to test you. That's how you're sharpened. That's how you get better. That's how you serve better. Talk to your angels. There are angels that can be seen. They are in your family. They are your pets and your fur babies. They are a fresh breath of air when you need to just and release. Know how powerful you are. Know what's there for you. If you convince yourself that you are alone and that you are devoid of hope, that is what you attract by the law of attraction. Beloveds, know thyself. Know thyself. Have unconditional love for thyself. Practice knowing this higher self, this higher defined, higher spiritual self. We've been practicing being human beings long enough. It's time to practice being spiritual, more spiritual beings, higher defined spiritual beings in higher dimensions, higher dimensional frequencies. There we go. Thank you, Spirit. Drawing, attracting, intercession from higher dimensional multiverses of being that's already been accomplished and achieved back into this moment. It's all linked anyway. Okay. That is the 3 cards that came forth for devotion to purpose, life purpose, from the Doreen Virtue Oracle card deck. And let's move forward to the next. There were 2 cards that came forth. The first card was the Humpback Whale. The message from the Humpback Whale. Music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening. Again, the flute, the Native American flute, has been very significant in making itself known in these last couple of days. So I invite you to open up that spiritual connection with your conscious awareness and see what is communicated to you, what you're guided to higher levels of peace, higher insight, higher contemplative meditative states. Again, let me read you what Humpback Whale is saying. This is from Stephen D. Farmer, Messages from your Animal Spirit Guides. And the Humpback Whale came, that's page 63, which is a 9. And let's see here. Okay. I will give you what the creator of this card and what the creator of this deck says, and then I'll give you what Spirit is saying, why this card came forward, and what its purpose is in the message that's coming forward today. Okay, Humpback Whale. Music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening, in order to diagnose their patients. One of the questions that shamans often asked when the patients Hold on just a moment, beloveds. Hold on just a moment. Okay, beloveds, I needed some sound. Okay, I just needed to grind myself with some sound. And, beloveds, that's very easy to do sometimes. Sometimes you just need the frequency and the vibration to be stirred, to be moved. The energy got very, very heavy with the introduction of this card, which means, let me see what it means. There's a lot of ancestral energies attached to the whale spirit for me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Whew. That connection is very deep. Hmm. Sometimes you have to allow thoughts and feelings to just wash over you. You don't attach to them, but you acknowledge them. Okay? That's what just happened with um, this card. And what you're witnessing is why I tend to stay to myself, because I've always been receptive to these waves of feeling and the thoughts that are with them. And it's not just one thought. When I say this is ancestral, this is lifetimes, this is all those who have lost their lives in water, even from the flood times, even before then. So there's a lot that came through with this card. Again, devotion to purpose. Mama. Humpback whale. Music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening. Okay. In order to diagnose their patients, one of the questions that shamans often asked was when the patient stopped singing. If it had been quite some time, the shaman was certain to recommend singing, among other remedies, as an essential aspect of recovery. So very powerful. That is resonating with me in so many ways right now, beloveds, that I can't even. I'm fighting to stay focused with this. Okay. Um. When did you stop singing? What is coming up is, when did you stop believing in yourself? When did you stop speaking? When did you stop praying? When did you stop being intimate with spirit? When did you when and why did you stop speaking and listening to the mother tongue? Okay, let's move forward. Um Bear with me, beloveds. This is, like I said, this is washing over me. This is generational. It is family. It is very personal to the person that is sitting here. It is very real. Okay? It is reconnecting to many different ways, frequencies, and spectrums. Very powerful. Okay, let's move forward. All that's involved when you sing, the fullness and the rhythm of your breathing, the opening of your mouth and jaw, and the soulful and creative expression of your spirit serves to enhance your health and raise your vibrations. Do you see why they're coming forth? Devotion to purpose. You wonder why musicians become musicians. Let me ground just a little bit more, beloveds. Let me just, I'm going to turn this off just for a few seconds and I'll come right back. Okay, beloveds, let's move forward. I needed to ground myself a little bit more. So thank you for being patient with me. This is very powerful. Very powerful. Let me just go back to that last sentence so that we'll dive right in from there, okay? All that's involved when you sing, the fullness, rhythm of your breathing, the opening of your mouth and jaw, and the soulful and creative expression of your spirit serves to enhance your health and raise your vibrations. So, beloveds, I want you to think of the indigenous ones. I want you to think of their customs of singing and prayer and rocking and moving, and the flute has come up a lot, the drums, the stringed instruments. I want you to understand the vibrating of your own vocal cords, the prayer, the asking for intercession, the breath that takes place, the exchange of air and energy and essence that you're not even aware of that takes place, that is required for connection. That is why you were first received the gift of breath. It was to facilitate communication. That was language of the mother tongue. It's not just a spoken word. It's communicating intimately and exchanging energy frequencies through many different spectrums and ways of knowing and ways of being. Humpback whale is ancient ancestor, ancient mentor, ancient teacher, ancient mother, ancient way shower, very special being. Bring your attention to what's happening to the waters where she swims. Bring your attention to how humanity is interceding on her behalf, and at her risk. Understand that the sounds that she makes are also prayers to be heard and to be answered. Understand that none of us are detached or separated from each other. Understand the gift of sonar. Understand the value that takes place with the vibrations and frequency. Understand what musicians do when they usher in the spirit. Understand what musicians do when they come and they break up stagnant energies with this frequency of sound, waves. They clear, they clean, they call home certain frequencies, spiritual frequencies, by using the mother tongue, by using that sound, that vibration, that pitch, that tone, with intention. It is a prayer as well. Okay, beloveds, let's continue. Simply listening with your full attention to your favorite tune or melody can also inspire and heal. Make music as essential to your lifestyle as eating and breathing. So powerful, because of everything that's been happening that I'm observing in the past 20 or so years. How Spirit has been using divine will, divine timing to lead me and show me certain things. It's very powerful. I'm so moved. And as a child, I've always been attracted. Since I was a child, I was always attracted to music. Music always moved me in ways that I couldn't even begin to share. And I'm thinking and remembering, there was a post that came up on Facebook where a little African girl, was feeling the spirit of music, and she was just surrendering to it, just moving naturally with the spirit, with the frequency, with the vibrations, with the spiritual energy of being one with that. And what came up for me was watching her was, this is what predators have looked down on innocent beings, especially little girls. I won't just say little girls, because little girls, little boys, it doesn't matter to a predator. They want the innocence. They want the vibration. They want the connection to that. They want to feel. That spirit. They want to be moved by it. Even if it means harming or taking that away, or touching that by way of touching or molesting the child. It's the same thing with what's been coming up with Blue Butterfly Jaguar Woman, when she's speaking of your intentions may be the best in the world when you see a butterfly struggling to come out of its chrysalis. But it needs to do that. And if you interfere, you're basically rendering it limited and unable to reach its highest purpose, because you've deformed it. You've pushed it down. You've pushed its spirit down. So now it has to struggle even harder just to be. Make music as essential to your lifestyle as eating and breathing. Beloveds, there's a lot of music out there, just as we were speaking of the games. This is what Spirit woke me up with this morning in order to do these videos. Okay? Be careful of what has its hooks in you. Be careful of what you're listening to. Is it what you're listening to? Where is it leading your mind and your thoughts? Are you even conscious of that? Or are you just so overtaken or hypnotized that you don't care? Are you so weak-willed that you just let it overtake you? Because it's the popular thing, or so-and-so and so said this, or they dress like this, or they look lit, or it looks hot, or it looks fun, or they got on the latest clothes, or whatever hole you got in you, they flaunting. Be discerning. Be devoted to your spiritual intake. So many of you seek fitness and are fitness junkies with your yoga and your exercising and your diets and your fasting and your cleansing and your lifestyles of this, that, and that discipline. But yet when it comes to true spiritual intake, discernment, you're not present. You're not present. The image of you that you've created, that you fantasized about, that's there. But the spiritual you that's been knocked down and told not to get up because this is happening. Because this is what the mind wants. And this is what the feelings crave. To feel whole. To feel validated. You're at war with yourself. This world is your projection. That's what makes it your reality. That's what makes it real. It's how you create it from your thoughts and your minds. Your reality is not my reality. Your wants, your desires, not mine. You can be mad, you can hate, you can laugh, you can say I'm crazy. You can do whatever you want to do. It's not going to change the fact that I hear my spirit calling out to me. I hear and feel time, past, present, and future in the same moment. And I'm done trying to regulate this over here and regulate this with that and this with this. And that doesn't make any sense anymore. That's human logic that's the mind trying to find a box to formulate and label and identify what is spiritual, which is a mystery to the mind. Doesn't happen. Doesn't add up. So one of those ways has to be let go of. And when you let it go, you let it go. And you devote yourself to the other. That's what a conscious spiritual choice is all about. And your maturity shows how much your devotion means. It shows how intimate you can get, truly get. Humpback whale, baby, ain't no joke, okay? If you thought these cards were coming up and they were just... You can breach the inhibitions about expressing yourself musically that you've acquired over the years in some very simple and easy ways. Sing, chant, or play an instrument. Take a few voice lessons as a means to shore up your confidence. Let the magical child inside help you rediscover the joy of creating music. Dive in and play. Humpback whale. Dive in and play. Don't worry about how it's going to sound. Make the sound. Listen to it. Revel in it. It's the truth. Associations with the humpback whale. Singing, breathwork, sound healing, sensitivity, alchemy, ancestral wisdom. Oh, mama. Creativity, inner depth, insight, healing, release, guardianship. Thank you, mama. The next card. Just as powerful. Honeybee. Honeybee, let compassion and forgiveness be your top priority in this situation. Beloveds, Spirit is really coming forth and giving sweet medicine on how to move from this moment into the next. And I hope, no, it's not about hoping. This is a prayer I'm devoted to this purpose. So I'm in the flow of midwifing, resurrecting, and rebirthing. That's what I've been doing for a while. And I've been practicing with me. So it's getting better. It's getting smoother. Delivery is getting better, smoother, much more comfortable. The body is, spiritual body is aligning itself with the physical body. And we're getting there, beloveds. We're getting there. Let me go on. This was Honeybee, page 60. That's another 6, beloveds. Let's see, 60. Here we go. Let compassion and forgiveness be your top priority in this situation. Compassion and forgiveness. Decide. No. Okay. Blue Butterfly Jaguar Woman says, first and foremost, let compassion and forgiveness be top priority for you in this situation that you're praying about. In this situation that you're worrying and you're anxious about, be it finances, be it relationship, whatever it may be, beloveds, compassion for yourself first and foremost will help you to midwife in the frequencies, to make the sounds, to make to invoke, to call the help that you need, for you to help intervene. If you need spiritual help, if you need miracles to move mountains, have the compassion for yourself to ask. Okay? Have the compassion and the forgiveness of yourself. Forgive yourself. Don't let your mind whoop you. Don't let your mind bury you and keep burying you and keep killing you and burying you over and over and over. Rise. Resurrect yourself. Be reborn. Be that green man. Come back after that life that you just lived, that you just died from. Come back whole and holy and ready. Because you've let go of whatever you were holding on to. Shame, guilt, blame, whatever. You come back empty. You come back new. You come back ready to be filled. Honeybee. To reap all the sweetness that life has to offer, focus on compassion and forgiveness. Compassion means that you have heartfelt empathy for the suffering and misfortune of others, yet remain somewhat detached so that you don't take on their sorrow and distress as your own. What did I just sit here and do, beloveds, with that humpback card? You were witness to it. Spirit is something else. Mama is something else, baby. I hope you're able to follow it. I hope you're able to see. I hope you're able to hear. I hope you're able to know. I hope you're able to retain and to hold on to it. And I hope you're able to use the tools and develop the tools that you need to build from it. Compassion means that you have heartfelt empathy for the suffering and misfortune of others. Remember I said with that humpback whale, all of those who had died in the waters before the flood of Noah, all of that just washed over in waves. And it affected me, but I didn't go like I usually would do. Years ago, when those kind of waves came along, oh, they knocked me on my ass. Excuse my French. They knocked me down so hard, I would go crawl in a ball, go curl up, go bury myself under the covers. It wasn't even my stuff. But because I'm empathic, I'm naturally compassionate. And that's so funny because that's what the book that I'm writing, that's what the topic is. So this is all just blowing my mind right now, beloveds. But let me finish for the sake of time and timing, okay? Let me pause one moment. Okay, beloveds, thank you for your patience once again. Just needed to ground myself again, that's all. Honeybee. To reap all the sweetness that life has to offer, focus on compassion and forgiveness. Compassion means that you have heartfelt empathy for the suffering and misfortune of others, yet remain somewhat detached so that you don't take on their sorrow and distress as your own. Forgiveness requires that you first acknowledge and accept responsibility for your judgments, rather than pretending they don't exist or professing to always sustain a non-judgmental attitude. The next step is to release those judgments. To do so, think of someone, past or present, with whom you have judgments or criticisms. Trust that the first person that comes to mind is the appropriate one to start with. Consider 2 or 3 specific criticisms that you have about this individual, preferably captured with one word, such as selfish or cold. Find a quiet place. Go inside yourself and look for that part of you that's exactly like what you're judging in the other person. It may be a very prominent part of yourself or a rather small aspect. You may identify it by recalling times when you've behaved in ways that resemble what you're criticizing. Once you discover that part of you, simply say to it, I love you and forgive you. I want you to understand something. Let me draw some very clear and distinct lines. The humpback whale brought up the genealogies of humankind, the connection to all life, all human life that has been lost in the conscious awareness of turbulent waters, turbulent times, floods, storms, wars. There's a lot here, beloveds. There's a lot here to unpack. Excuse me for fidgeting and moving and everything. Understand that you carry a lot with you. Some of it is from previous lifetimes. Some of it is what you absorbed in the womb from those around you. Frequencies, vibrations that you picked up that may even no longer exist, that may be specific to certain places, and you're not even there anymore. But your ancestors traversed that space and thus imprinted its frequency within the memory of your cells. And you're picking that up. You carry it with you. It resonates with you in certain ways, in certain waves, in certain situations. It is restirred. It is triggered. What this honeybee is saying is that all is connected. And to look for, to be rewarded by the sweetness of existence, you have to be aware of your level of compassion and forgiveness in order to appreciate the sweetness of existence. You have to be aware of your level of compassion and forgiveness. In order to get the sweetness, you have to exchange the energies of compassion and forgiveness. You start with yourself. To do so, think of someone past or present with whom you have judgment or criticisms. Trust that the first person that comes to mind is the appropriate one to start with. Okay, this is what Spirit wanted me, where she wanted me to go with this. October is the month of, my mother passed away October 3rd. All of this has so much to do. Like I said, it's all connected, beloveds. It's within me, so I don't expect or assume that you know exactly what I'm speaking of. But we are similar in our existence as spiritual beings to relate to each other. And so what this is saying for me, this honeybee, is the first person that came up for me was my mother. And as a child, we are always saying, oh, we criticize our parents. What they did, we're not going to do. What they did to us, we're not going to do to our children. How they acted, we're not going to act in that way. We're not going to be that way. We're not going to give birth to that frequency. We're not going to harbor that kind of vibration, that spectrum. We're not going to employ it or use it in any of our dealings. Okay? Consider 2 or 3 specific criticisms that you have about this individual, and preferably captured with one word, such as selfish or cold. Find a quiet place to go inside yourself and look for that part of you that's exactly like what you're judging in the other person. It may be a very prominent part of yourself, or rather small aspect. You may identify it by recalling times when you've behaved in ways that resemble what you're criticizing. Once you discover that part of you, simply say to it, I love you and forgive you. If necessary, repeat this 2 or 3 times and notice any emotions that come up. In the coming days, be aware of any feelings that arise that may be associated with this experience. Practice this at least once daily for the next few days and watch what happens. So, many of us have experienced extreme trauma from the parenting process of those who gave birth to us, those who were put in charge of us as children, as young, developing, conscious minds and beings. And they inflicted themselves and projected themselves into our conscious spiritual awareness to the point where we said we didn't want to be like them. But yet, we find ourselves doing the exact same thing that we were programmed and conditioned to do by them, that we said we would not do. This is saying, Honeybee is saying, forgive yourself. And as you're saying, I forgive myself, you are able, through compassion and forgiveness, to forgive them and have compassion for them, because you have the same, you see the need to have it for yourself, and you recognize they are no different than you. Regardless of if what they did was worse than what you are doing. You still recognize you have the capacity to have compassion for yourself for having the capacity. Have forgiveness for wanting to act out or delegate or correct or hurt or lash out. Understand with compassion and forgiveness where it comes from in the conditioning and the programming of human beings from other human beings. Take it slow. It's not easy. But like Honeybee is saying, begin with yourself, and it gets easier. I love you and I forgive you. If necessary, repeat this 2 or 3 times and notice any emotions that come up. Emotions are feelings. Emotions are thoughts and feelings. So when you say, I love you and I forgive you, notice what thoughts and feelings come up. Be detached from those thoughts and feelings, because these thoughts and feelings are just aspects that communicate in their way. Their way is what? Thoughts and feelings. And that's how it's communicated to you. Now, what you do with what you receive, that's up to you. That's the discernment. That's the choice. That's the recognition. And what Honeybee is saying, think of the buzzing, the vibrating, the sound frequencies. Remember, we just had humpback whale, and now we have honeybee. Think of the frequencies that you can hear. Think of the frequencies that you cannot hear. What are the associations with the honeybee? Productivity, community, cooperation, sweetness, love, compassion, forgiveness, rhythm, awakening, nature, poetry, mother goddess, royalty, and nutrition. That's a lot. Awakening, nature, poetry, mother goddess, royalty, nutrition, compassion, forgiveness, love, sweetness, community, cooperation, productivity. All of that has to do with divine purpose. I hope you're able to see why these cards came forth, why the energy and frequency is so directly related to the topic that came forth. The reason I got up this morning and with love, unconditional love, came here to share. Because I'm devoted to the purpose of rebirthing, recreating, resurrecting, renewing, regenerating. What was before about the Tower of Babel was erected. Because that's in my conscious awareness as well as everything that happened afterwards. And I'm capable. And so are you. And I'm here to remind us. And I'm devoting myself to that purpose. And I'm following through with that in the best way I know how. When I know better, I do better. But for right now, this is as good as it gets. And it's good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough. I no longer doubt that. I no longer doubt that I am not good enough to present, to speak, to be the vessel, to be the voice, to allow. I have strong enough will to tell my mind to shut up. Yeah. And I'm learning how to get in more intimate with myself, which means I'm learning how to get more intimate with you. So by telling myself, I love you and I forgive you, I'm not just saying that to me. Sound resounds. Sonar echoes through the multiverse, through timelines on this planet Earth, with her gravitational pull. We're being directed spiritually to the power of sound, to the spiritual power of sound, to the spiritual ancient knowledge of sound. The elders knew. The ancient ones knew. They built with the technology of sound. It's coming back up for a reason. Just like it's going to help build up, it's going to help tear down what needs to come down. All is well, beloveds. Don't worry. All is in divine timing. Don't put your faith in men. Don't do that. That'll let you down. That will hurt you. You will become hopeless. You will become depressed. There's something much higher. The spirit of human. The spirit of human that was given to humans in the first breath. It does not die. Okay, beloveds, that's going to do it for this video. There is 3 more cards that came through for the Medicine Woman tarot deck, but I'm going to do that separately. So, namaste. Thank you. Take your time with these videos. There's a lot there. Unpack it slowly. Take what is meant for you and what's not for you. Let it go. No judgment, no attachment, no criticism. It's just not for you. Just let it go. But for what is, consume it. Let it nurture you. Let it speak to you. Okay. Namaste, beloveds.